Hello everyone, my name is Brian and welcome back to Barb's Vault. Today in the Vault we're going to be discussing the Plasma Rifle Flamer, not to be confused with the Enclave Plasma Rifle Flamer, because that thing is incredibly difficult to get and the RNG gods have not been blessing me lately. But I've been testing out the Plasma Rifle Flamer and this thing is 100% a viable weapon. So I figured I'd make a little loadout video for this guy, but before we jump into that, make sure you join the Discord. We're going to be scheduling some stuff out for live streams. I want to get the community involved. Really go out there and do something together. Maybe launch some nukes, have some fun, just boys being boys. Weekends are for the boys. Okay, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the video. We're going to look at a little demonstration. We're going to check out our perk cards. And we're going to go through some of the pros and cons of using a flamer build in general, because I do think there are some pretty severe cons to using a flamer overall. Okay, so moving on to the actual roll that we got on this bad boy, we have a vampiric roll, which restores 2% health over 2 seconds when you hit a target, plus 50% damage to limbs, negative 25% action point cost, plus 65% damage to scorched. So the reduced cost in action points is actually going to be pretty critical to this build because this thing just chews through action points left and right. And the great part about this is that I myself am a bloodied build. So the restore 2% health over 2 seconds is absolutely a thing of beauty. So this thing actually borderline makes me immortal. So if I'm running through West Tech and I'm farming during a double XP weekend, I have found that, sometimes my luck cards don't quite get the job done. I'll get killed. You have to go back to your base, do a survival tent, and go ahead and sleep in a bed again. It's a whole thing. But with this thing, I have noticed I can run through West Tech, taking essentially no damage. So in order to get the plans for the Plasma Rifle Flamer, we're actually going to have to buy the plans for the Plasma Rifle Gun. So keep that in mind, it can be a little bit confusing. But we're going to go ahead and travel to the White Spring Mall. Okay, so spawning in here at the mall, we're going to go ahead and run over to the Brotherhood of Steel vendor store. And we're going to talk to our little blue friend. So this is obviously going to show up as already purchased for myself because I've already bought it, but we're going to go ahead and go over to notes. It's a little bit easier to kind of go through the inventory list that way. Go all the way down for myself. And you can see here the plans for the Plasma Rifle Gun. So to keep in mind, to get the Plasma Rifle Flamer, you buy the Plasma Rifle Gun, and then what we're going to do is we're going to craft a bunch of the Plasma Rifle Guns, scrap all of those, and you're going to get just a ton of plans for the actual plasma gun itself, and the stock is how we're going to change that from being a gun to a rifle. Okay, so over here at a weapons workbench, gonna go ahead and craft a few of these guys. Energy weapons, short plasma pistol. I'm just gonna do level 15 because all we're trying to do is just to get the plans. Crafted 8 of these guys. Okay, so now that we have those crafted, we're gonna go ahead and scrap those. You can see here we're gonna start to unlock plans for it. So your best bet is to scrap as many of these as you possibly can to get the actual flamer mod itself. Okay, so you'd go back into the weapons workbench to modify a weapon. We have Team Edward right here. Go into it. Vampire Legendary mod, Crippling, VATS Optimize. The Prime Capacitor will be very, very important because that's what will allow you to use the Ultrasight Plasma cartridges. And then we have here Aligned Flamer Barrel, Precise Stock. So this is what will change it from being a gun to being a rifle. I know it may be a little bit confusing, but don't worry, the plasma gun is the correct plan to buy. And the ammo for this works in a similar way to the plasma caster, if you've seen that video. So it's going to be dropping a pretty decent amount of ammo, but it's not going to be as great of a ratio of ammo spent to ammo picked up as it would be for the plasma caster. Where do you think you're going, bud? Okay, so we have evasive popping off there. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of build this loadout to not be the same as my sneaky builds. I'm mostly doing it so I can sprint through here, do as much damage as possible, stay alive, make sure that I have the most damage resistance that I possibly can, and I also have some luck cards to make sure that I'm actually just avoiding damage altogether. So, with the vampire mod on this bad boy, ooh, so you got that melee damage in there. Normally that would have killed me, but not today. So we have the vampire mod on here, so that way I'm really just healing myself. I have really no necessity for stim packs anyways. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our perk cards. So up first in strength, we have Blocker. Take 45% less damage from your opponent's melee attacks. I have that in there because I found that when I'm going through West Tech, I get hit by a Super Mutant Hound. Almost always takes me out, especially as a bloodied build. Okay, next up in Perception, we have Concentrated Fire. So this one's huge for getting those headshots with all the critical strikes on there. That's targets limbs, focus fire to gain high accuracy and damage per shot. And then we have Rifleman. So the Rifleman perk cards are actually the ones that affect the plasma rifle itself. So Rifleman, your non-automatic rifles now do 20% damage. Tank Killer, your rifles and pistols ignore 36% armor and have a 9% chance to stagger. Then Expert Rifleman, your non-automatic rifles now do 20% more damage. Master Rifleman, your non-automatic rifles now do 20% more damage. In Endurance, we have Ironclad. So this one's a big one. Gain plus 50 resistance to damage and to energy while not wearing power armor. Remember, I hate power armor, so this is great for me. Then we have Radicool. The greater your rounds, the greater your strength. Max plus 5 strength. Then we have Fireproof. If you're out there fighting Mothman cultists for like the scoreboard challenges or something like that, they're going to be throwing Molotov cocktails. This will help you in a pinch stay alive. Okay, and so then in Charisma, we have Inspirational. When you are on a team with others, gain 15% more XP. Strange in Numbers. Positive mutation effects are plus 25% stronger if teammates are mutated too. Then Tenderizer. Make your target receive 7% more damage for 7 seconds after you attack. Then over here in Intelligence, I have my special points set to 15 because I always want to make sure I'm getting the most XP that I possibly can. We have Nerd Rage. While below 20% health, gain 40 damage resistance, 20% damage, and 15% action points regen. So this one's huge for a bloodied build. This one will really keep you alive, and then also it's going to help you with those action points. Next up is Science. So craft rank 1 energy weapons, mods, and energy damage gains plus 10%. So we're adding 10% more to the plasma rifle's damage output. Then we have Science Expert. Crafted energy guns cost fewer material and energy damage gains plus 10% bonus. Science Master. Crafted energy guns have an improved durability and energy damage gains plus 10% bonus. Batteries included. This one's huge because I don't really have a ton of carry weight. Remember, I only have 3 in strength. Energy ammo weighs 90% less. Then we have Scrapper. Obtain more components when you scrap weapons and armor. Chemist, you get double the quantity when you craft chems. Weapon Artisan, you can repair any weapon to 130% of a normal maximum condition. So over here in Agility, this is really where I'm going to be putting a lot of things in for this Plasma Flamer specifically to really ramp up those action point regeneration because like I said, it just chews through it. Action Boy, action points regenerate 45% faster. Gun Fu, this is just one of my all-time favorite perk cards. It's just a really fun card to have. That swaps targets on kill with plus 10%, 30%, then 60% damage to your next 3 targets. Sneak, so I always like to have some form of sneak in there, so this one's a pretty good little one to get you out of a pinch here and there. You are 75% harder to detect while sneaking. Then Adrenaline boosts all the way up to 5, gain plus 20%, max 60% damage for 30 seconds per kill. Duration refreshes with kills. So that's going to work pretty well in conjunction with Gun Fu. Evasive, each agility point adds plus 1% resistance to damage and energy. No power armor. Again, we hate power armor. Then up here in Luck, we have Better Criticals. That's criticals now do 100% more damage. Serendipity, while below 30% health, gain a 45% chance to avoid damage. So again, this is going to keep you alive when you're a bloodied build. Class Freak, the negative effects of your mutations are reduced by 75%. So I love using mutations, so this one's an absolute necessity. Starch Genes, you will never mutate from rats, and Radaway will never cure mutations. So again, you need this in order to keep your mutations. Grim Reaper Sprint. So I'm building this thing out so I can be regenerating those action points and making sure I'm using as little as I possibly can. So any kill in VATS has a 35% chance to restore all action points. Then we have Critical Savvy. Normally I would have this one set up to 3, but I'm kind of experimenting with it because again, the action point cost is just insane. So critical hits now only consume 85% of your critical meter. Okay, so we've gone through all of our perk cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at our legendary perks. So all of mine are special point allocations, and then I have follow through. So range sneak damage increases damage to target by 40% for 10 seconds. So this one's really big for stealth. This loadout's not necessarily 100% geared towards that, but I'm kind of struggling to see what other legendary perk card I should be using. I don't use power armor. I don't need ammo factory all the time, so if you have any tips or tricks for me personally, make sure you go ahead and leave in the comment section down below. Okay, so with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the pros and cons of this weapon, because like I said, there are some pretty severe cons. So the pros are this thing does an insane amount of damage, it's relatively easy to get and to get the mods for, and with the vampire roll on here, this thing will 100% keep me alive. So if I'm going through and just doing an XP farm in West Tech, I'm basically going to be unkillable. The downsides are the AP cost. So this thing, like I said, will just blow through action points. The other con is that this thing's range of damage is really, really small. So you have to be right up there in somebody's face in order to do damage to them. And if you're doing the Scorch Beast Queen, you're basically not going to be getting any hits into that thing. You're going to kind of be useless to the rest of the people there doing that event. So this thing will work out basically 9 times out of 10 with no issues. It's just that 1 time out of 10 that it doesn't work can be very, very frustrating. So the situations where this gun really, really shines, it's great. The situations where it doesn't, incredibly annoying. I am still going to be grinding out to try and get that Enclave plasma rifle, but man, the drop rate on this thing it's ridiculous. Like, I cannot believe how difficult it is to actually get my hands on that weapon. I've been trying for like 4 or 5 days now, and so I'll report back when I actually get it. But I do think that this weapon is a pretty great alternative to it for the time being, and if you're trying to get into plasma weapons and you want to use a flamer, I think this is a great option. So in conclusion, pretty solid gun. But I love you boys, I appreciate you. The channel's been growing so much. It's so awesome to see all the comments and to see new people popping up in Discord. So make sure you go ahead and you join the Discord in the link below. We're going to try to schedule some events and things to do together as a community. You know, weekends are for the boys to get together, to kill a giant radiated bat thing, and to, you know, do some cleansing of super mutants. Just regular weekend stuff. But until next time, like I said, I love you. I appreciate you. See you out there in the wasteland.